the leaders of the Senates. This is how they're getting away with the corruption. This is how they get away with the rest of the world economy melting down, global depression, while these mega banks make trillions of dollars and individuals are paid billions and billions and billions in bonuses. And as the water prices are increased, so the government can, quote, pay off the debts they don't owe in Ireland and Greece and the United States, as taxes are raised everywhere, and as the services are cut, the people are told they're cutting services for austerity to pay off the debt. But if you look at Eastern Europe, you look at Latin America, you look at Western countries that have been taken over by these people, you never get out of the debt. Because it's impossible. It's 1.5 quadrillion. It's fraudulent. That would have been like telling Germans in the Great Depression in 1932 that they had to pay off every individual family's debt of trillions of marks. You know, it took billions of marks to buy a loaf of bread. USA Today yesterday had the cover story that it's really $60+ trillion that the United States, quote, owes. Well, I'm sorry. Last year, the Washington Post reported the U.S. share of derivatives is $600 trillion of the 1.5 quadrillion worldwide. It's impossible to pay off. We don't owe it. It's a fraud. We are incredibly wealthy. But they've invested the police pension funds, the fire funds, the teacher funds, the private funds, everything in these systems, and now they're holding us hostage saying, give us whatever we want, cut all your benefits or you'll get nothing. That's the trick. And then we do that 3 years ago, things get worse. Now they're back saying more bailouts, more money, more unlimited trillions to Europe, or Greece will collapse and take Europe with it. It won't take Greece and Europe with it, and then America. It will take the bankers with it. And you watch, they're going to have trillions more in, quote, bailouts that are really just blood money paid to these criminals, and they'll be back in a couple more years for more. And the deeper the depression gets, they'll say, cut, pay us everything and we'll fix it. Then you cut, pay them everything, and it only gets worse. I mean, here's Obama. And we told you a week ago this was going to happen, that at Bilderberg they were going to get trillions more. And Obama is pressing the Germans and others to bail out, it's not a bailout, to give trillions more, including U.S. taxpayer money and German and French and other money, to, quote, save Greece or it'll pull down Europe. The debt, over 90% of it, is created by the bankers. They just get government to sign on to the debt and promise to bail it out. Then they turn around and say, this is your debt, you've got to pay it, and we're going to cut your pension fund. We're going to cut your Social Security that you paid into. Now, I'm not a fan of people being dependent. I'm not a fan of the socialist model because I know it was created by the banksters on record to get you dependent so they could then hold you hostage and control the entire system and have everything under federal systems that tie into the world government. But here's Obama, and we told you this was coming. Obama presses Europe, pledges help for Greek crisis. They've already had 3 rounds of bailouts there. Greece has lost its credit rating, just like Moody's and Standard & Poor's says the U.S. is. So it's more. The more you pay the bankers, the more you owe them. Because when our countries create a dollar to bail someone out, a dollar of debt is created to the very bankers that we're bailing out. It's like a snake eating its tail. The fraud is so huge and so simple, it makes it complex, and people can't see it. It's us or them. It's us or them, ladies and gentlemen. We're coming back with more coverage. Stay with us. We are now 8 minutes into hour number 2 of this worldwide transmission. I want to give the number out for Europeans, people going under the debt austerity of the banksters, who on record, our own government admits, engaged in crimes, creating 1.5 quadrillion in derivatives, and now we've got to, quote, bail them out and have them make record profits, or they threaten to implode the rest of our economy. Because, like Siamese twins, they have woven all of our currency and our infrastructure and our investments into their system, and they're holding us hostage. The issue is, though, they want austerity. They want to make us poor so we can be politically controlled. Bilderberg has admitted that. These globalists use poverty as a tool. So if you give in to their hostage-taking economically, if you give in to their economic terrorism, they then just bring you step by step into deeper and deeper bondage. So all we can do is say, go ahead, give us the depression, slam everything down, we're going to arrest every single one of you. Believe me, if our governments started doing the right thing and indicting these people, even Rolling Stone 2 weeks ago said the Senate committee has found total crime by these big mega banks. Where are the indictments? Where are they? Arrest them all. It's us or them. They own both major parties in every major country. It's us or them. Their crimes are legion. Their crimes are open. And now Obama is saying, oh, Germany and others don't want to give trillions more, but America is. They don't want to give trillions more to the bankers. It's not really a banker bailout. It's giving it to them, or they'll hold Europe hostage and suck us down with it. And he's saying he's pressing Europe to pony up along with the U.S. with more tax money that goes directly to these mega banks that engineered all this. And his entire administration is Goldman Sachs, J.P. Morgan. The entire stinking thing. I mean, this is incredible. And they own Romney, of Romney Care, the model for Obamacare. A lot of Republicans don't care. You know what? As long as it's a white guy, and as long, you know what, they don't care if he's anti-gun either. They kind of like it. Well, I'm not one of you mainline Republican idiots. That's all I have to say. And a lot of Americans are waking up to what's going on and waking up to what's happening and figuring things out. Now, the media is trying to ignore Ron Paul. Well, you can ignore Ron Paul all day. He's getting the word out and the people are listening, and you're losing more and more credibility, mainstream media. You're not going to be mainstream very long. You're becoming a joke. And we've broken the electronic Berlin Wall, the news blackout on Bilderberg 2011, the top 2 reports on drudgereport.com right now. Bomb scare shuts down road to Bilderberg meeting, and they used that as a foil to basically shut things down so we couldn't get video of their faces, but not before we got the head of NATO, Bill Gates, and others. Also, secret agenda leaked by Mole. I want to go over some of that secret agenda later in the hour. That's really our biggest news. And, of course, we're calling for a giant protest. People all over Europe who've come out in the millions against tyranny and the austerity. These are the people that did it, with the 40-something% unemployment in many European countries now and people under 30, the 20+% unemployment in the general public. These are the people. These are the people that raise your taxes, where the average European pays over 70% in taxes. These are the people that are openly have their banking heads, the treasury heads, the exchequer of England, all of them, former heads like Alan Greenspan, all out saying we need to raise your taxes. Warren Buffett, who got hundreds of billions of your bailout money, your money, he says raise taxes on the rich. Meanwhile, he's exempt from it. Fortune 500 pay on average 2.4% taxes. They're globalists. They're international. They've exempted themselves from the law. Oh, we need to help the poor. Remember the carbon tax 2 years ago in Copenhagen, and the treaty got leaked? They wouldn't release the treaty, but the third world countries leaked the treaty. And the Danes released the treaty, and it had right at, not exactly double, but right at 1 point away from double the carbon taxes on the third world that the West had to have. See, they sold to the third world, hey, Africans, hey, Latin Americans, hey, Asians, you're going to get bailout money. You're going to get all this money from rich, fat Americans who are greedy and have a high standard of living. And, boy, they bellied up to the bar and said, you bet we're ready to sign this. And they got the treaty, and they said, what? And the bankers want to kill the third world. They're a bunch of eugenicists who openly write books calling black people animals. Of course they want to cut off all your energy. It's always been the globalist Western plan by the elites to stop development in the third world. That's in the British 1949 Royal Commission on Population, where they said, if we industrialize the third world, they will not overpopulate. From their perspective, they will then, though, be rivals to us, and we won't have hegemonic control. Instead, we'll keep them in the Dark Ages, in the Stone Ages, but it will make them then have giant populations because poor people have more kids on average. So how do we deal with that? Well, then we come in behind that with Planned Parenthood and sterilizations and forced abortions and pay India and pay Peru and pay African countries on record to forcefully grab women and sterilize them. We're going to keep you poor, not let you industrialize, and do our best to kill you. Keep you from having babies. I mean, these people are sick. They are sick, and they are the enemies of humanity. So if you want to do something historical, people are like, oh, it won't do anything. Oh, yes, it will. Look how far we've come. As I told you 10 years ago, we're pushing and pushing and making Bilderberg come out in mainstream news to identify the real global controllers of this planet. The real global controllers of this planet. Once you identify them, then you're not looking at Obama or Bush or Perry or Sarkozy or Barroso. You're looking at the real owners, those 10 to 8 families you can debate, but we've written and posted detailed analysis at Infowars.com of the 8 ruling families. It's in the 4 Horsemen of the New World Order piece that was up there last week. And they can only get away with this if they're hidden. That's why they go to such lengths to build a tunnel for hundreds of yards for them to drive into of white walls so nobody can get video of them in St. Moritz, Switzerland. That's why they're shutting down the road. That's why you heard from inside Bilderberg sources, Rupert Murdoch was asked by Bilderberg to please talk to all the newspaper and media people he knows and ask them not to cover this here in the U.S., but they have to cover it because we're covering it and the Drudge Report's covering it, and now it's one of the biggest news items in the world, and it's only going to get bigger when you in Europe, who are a few hours away, hop a train and get in there, and all you got to do is sit there and chant, down with tyranny, down with Bilderberg, and as you're driving on your cell phone in your car or on the train, call local media and tell them to be there, and it's going to be an absolute fiasco for the Bilderberg group. What did Brzezinski say last year? He says, for the first time in human history, humanity is awake and staring. No longer are they able to be manipulated politically. They understand the ruling class. The Federal Reserve, just 5-6 years ago, maybe 5% of Americans knew it was private, knew it was a big scam, was bankrupting our country. For $1 to be created, $1 of debt is created and given to them out of nothing. They knew this. They understood this. And now I've seen the Gallup polls. 3 years ago when Ron Paul was exposing it on the national platform and being demonized, it was upwards of 75%. A year ago, it was 80%. I've seen major scientific polls, 85 and higher of Americans want to abolish the Fed, audit the Fed, and know they're the enemy. And the banksters are going, oops, they're not looking at our marionettes. Remember the old Bill Hicks line? Hey, I like the puppet on the left. Hey, I like the puppet on the right. And one guy goes, hey, there's one guy holding both puppets. When humanity reaches that point, and it has, but everyone still feels like we're alone, we're the minority. No, we're not. No, we're not. You aren't public figures. You aren't known. You aren't recognized. I cannot walk down the street anywhere. I cannot go in a 7-Eleven. I cannot go to a shopping mall. I cannot go to a Target. I cannot go anywhere. Years ago, I'd walk by 50 people and 2 groups would stop. Now, I walk by a group of 50 people, I get mobbed, and I can't even get out of there because they all want to take photos and shake my hand, and then it builds up because people have that, thing that they're kind of scared to get outside their bubble, but once they see people talking to me, then they come over, and it's great to talk to you. I've just got somewhere to go. Again, I'm not bragging, ooh, look, Alex is a celebrity. The point is, I'm somebody who can uniquely tell you that the awakening is much bigger than you've known. I just got chills. It's much bigger. We can beat these people. But you, if you're listening, cannot count on somebody else to go if you're in Europe or if you're in England or you're in Ireland. You have got to get on a plane. What is it? 100 pounds to fly in there from England, Watson told me, because I paid for it. Well, Ted Anderson did. He paid us when we're paying for the trip. 100 pounds to fly in there. A train ride, the equivalent maybe 20, 30 euros for a 2-hour train ride directly there. You got the money. Or get it from your uncle, or get it from your son. Get there, get there, get there, get there, get there. Stand with other liberty lovers. Stand up against tyranny. Now, the video that breaks this down, and then I'm going to your calls when we come back from break, 1-800-259-9231. People all over Europe, dial your country code extension, 800-259-9231. I know some folks can't call a 1-800 number from Europe, or you can just call us on Skype then, 800-259-9231. I want to hear from you. Are you planning to be there? Or what's your view on what we're saying? Here's the headlines. Breaking. Secret Bilderberg agenda leaked by Mole. Kurt Nimmo. So key. Top linked on Drudge. Whitewashes in CNBC. Friends in high places. Bilderberg 2011 kicks off. Forced to cover it. They hate this. Europe marches on Bilderberg tyrants. That's the name of the InfoWars article that has the 8-minute video I shot last night that's well-produced. Dew stayed up here late last night to get it out. That needs to go mega viral to everyone. I'm going to put it out on my Twitter. Please get this out and then retweet it to everyone you know at twitter.com, Real Alex Jones, or go to Infowars.com. It's red-linked. Europe marches on Bilderberg tyrants. Europe marches. Protesters march. It's on. It's on.